Hello, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, if you're a returning viewer, glad to have you back, and welcome to another episode of Justin Talks Games. I haven't done one of these in, oh my god, in what, a couple of months? Very, very long time. It's just been, quite noisy, and I've been very busy, so I haven't been able to do them. It's a nice day out here, and nice and warm, and nice and quiet out here today, so I figured I would do a video. Also, for those in Ontario, Canada, like me, hopefully you guys are being safe, you're being careful right now, because we have very extreme fire warnings. We have forest fires, we have farm fires, very, very, very dangerous stuff. They have high zones, extreme zones, all that kind of stuff. Luckily enough for me, my family, Sandra, all them, as you guys know from my videos, they're all safe, so we're all good. But for those of you who are in those areas, just try and be careful, try and be safe, do the best that you can, and I wish you all the best of luck. But moving on to today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about Resident Evil 9. Now, I haven't really touched on Resident Evil 9 at all, so I thought today would be the perfect opportunity. Like I said, it's a nice day outside today, and no rain, nice and shade. We got some sun out here. It's quite warm, and just figured it'd be the perfect day. So I really enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was really cool. I honestly think that Grace, just from I know obviously we don't know much because we've just seen the trailer and some gameplay stuff, so we still don't really know what's going on, and we don't know much about her. But I already find her more interesting than Ethan, honestly. No offense to the Ethan fans out there. I personally just found him pretty bland. They kind of fixed that a little bit in Village, Resident Evil 8. They gave him a little bit more of a personality, but he still didn't grab me like I thought he would. So, and if you like Ethan, that's totally fine. I'm not going to bash you, make fun of you, or anything like that. But just me personally, he wasn't for me. So I'm glad that we got a new character. Grace looks really cool. She's related to Alyssa, a character from Outbreak. So I wonder what they're going to do with Alyssa. It looks like there were some flashbacks or some flashback gameplay sections or something in the trailer. So it's going to be quite interesting. We've seen some current time events shown of Raccoon City. Now, while I'm kind of excited to see that in the game, I'm also not hesitant, but I gotta remember to keep my expectations in check. And the reason I say that is because if you guys remember, they did a lot of that for Village. There was a few trailers where showed a lot of the people of the village. They're outside, searching for things. There's a lot more village people in the trailers, but then when you play the game, they're all huddled inside this cabin. Cabin burns down, everybody dies, and that's it. So they literally went nowhere with any of the village inhabitants. Nothing. You also got to remember too that they really, really pushed the selling point for Village with Alcina, the vampire lady, as everybody calls her. Excuse me. Whereas in reality, she was only in that game for about 15 minutes, if you include the cutscenes and the gameplay. Not very long whatsoever at all. But they did a hell of a lot of marketing with her, and it made it seem like she might be the main villain, or at least a core focus, or one of the main focuses or something, but not really. So I'm kind of hoping that Raccoon City isn't going to be something like that. Like, I hope that we're actually going to be able to go there walk around, see some set pieces and stuff. Um, Again, showing the inside of buildings doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, it's, we see the inside of the ruins of the Raccoon Police Department, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be going in there, because why would we? Because when you play Resident Evil 2, right, it's a regular police station. Everything's underground underneath it, right? So there's nothing really of interest, or there wouldn't really be anything of interest for Grace to go there, right? Perhaps they just use that as a selling point for the trailer, right? Maybe you walk past it, maybe you can go in it, who knows? But I can't see them really doing a whole lot with the RPD, if I'm being genuinely honest. I think it would be cool if they added the places that they didn't add in the Resident Evil 3 remake. Man, that game was terrible. Honestly, the only thing that game had going for it was the graphics and the gameplay. Because graphics, I'll give it to it. Resident Evil 3 remake looked beautiful. It was a very nice looking game. Gameplay wise, it was very smooth. So I'll give it that. I'm not gonna bash it for that. But the trimmed down story and the trimmed down exploring, it was very streamlined. And I didn't like that, but that's not what this video is about. It'd be nice if we were to see those locations that were not in 3 remake, though. So maybe we'll get to see, the Dead Factory, right? Maybe we'll see the Clock Tower, but why would we have a reason to go there? But then you could say same thing. Why would you have a reason to go to the Clock Tower or the Dead Factory or whatever, right? So I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do with this remake, or not remake. Sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. I really don't know what they're going to do with the ruins of Raccoon City because it can only go fully, like, full on really good hit, or it's just going to crash and burn. Because it's, like I said, it's either going to be, well, we're using this as a selling point to sell the game, or we're actually going to do a story stuff to it. I don't know, that doesn't make sense, but I'm not going to redo the video. I don't know. I just really hope they know what they're doing, right? I really, really hope. And I was watching LTR, Let's Talk Resident Evil, and I know Anthony had the same thoughts of hopefully they don't bring Miranda, the Miranda, bullcrap into this. Excuse me. I don't think they will. I think 9 is trying to bring us back to the Umbrella storyline. That's the feeling I'm kind of getting from this. I don't know. I think we're going to be going back to the Umbrella storyline. Because they kind of broke away with that after 6, I think, was the last game to have Umbrella. Because they tried to get away with that from Resident Evil 4. Because you got to remember, Umbrella was in Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica. It was also in Survivor, Dead Aim, and then they basically killed Umbrella off screen in 4, so it wasn't a 4. And then they went back to the Umbrella storyline in Resident Evil 5. And then I believe they went back to the Umbrella storyline with 6 as well, where they explained the cover-up and this and that. I seen some people saying that we need more information on the cover-up and why they did what they did, which they already explained all that in Resident Evil 6. So, like, yeah, I don't like that game, but they did give a deeper insight of the whole conspiracy cover-up thing, which was, that I did enjoy. But, so, if you want to know more about that, go play Resident Evil 6, or watch a video on it if you don't want to torture yourself with the gameplay. And then 7, obviously, they dropped the whole thing. And then I think it was with the end of 7 they have like Blue Umbrella, where Umbrella are the good guys. Um, I've seen some people saying, "Oh, they dropped that whole thing in Resident Evil 8. They didn't go anywhere with it," um, which that's not partially true because Chris, while he's like rogue, he's not with the BSAA in Resident Evil 8. If you look at all of his gear, like his health injectors, if you spin them around and look at them, it has the blue umbrella logo on it. Excuse me. Um, so he's still getting his gear and his materials and weapons and this and that from the blue umbrella. Whether they're going to move forward that with Resident Evil 9, I don't know, because they pulled the whole the BSAA is bad using bioweapons now. I don't know if they're going to continue that storyline. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to fit just with what they've showed us so far for the trailer of 9. I can't see them doing it. Maybe with a future game or a spin-off game with Revelations, maybe then they'll touch on that. But I can't see them touching on that with Resident Evil 9. I almost said 8. I really think that Resident Evil 9 is going to be Umbrella focused. It's going to bring us back to the Umbrella storyline once again. Being in Raccoon City, it's also the 30th, and it's going to be the 30th anniversary next year of Resident Evil as a whole. 30 years of Resident Evil, man. Crazy. I still remember the very first time me playing Resident Evil 1. An experience I'll never forget. And I still play the original Resident Evil 1, not Director's Cut, literally 1996 original Resident Evil 1. I still play that to this day. Wonderful game. As for characters, who do I think is going to show up? I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of new characters, to be honest. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Leon has to be there. Leon has to be there." Throat's getting dry. I do apologize. I see a lot of people saying, like I just said, "Oh, Leon has to be there. Leon has to be there." Well, he doesn't have to be there. It'd be nice, because obviously his first game was in Raccoon City, but I wouldn't say he has to be there. It wouldn't make or break the game if Leon did not show up. Same with Jill or Chris or anybody, right? I mean, yes, it's Raccoon City. Yes, it's where one of the biggest events in the entire franchise started. Everybody says, "Oh, Raccoon City, back to where it all started." And I laugh when I see that. I know I'm going off track a little bit here, but I laugh when I see that. Resident Evil is going back to where it all began in Raccoon City. It didn't start in Raccoon City. It started out in the Arkley Mountains up in the Raccoon Forest with, the training facility with James Marcus. And then you had a separate, and that's the thing, the outbreak from the training facility with James Marcus and the outbreak of the Arkley Mansion, the Spencer estate from Resident Evil 1, those are two separate outbreaks. They're not even connected, right? They just happen to be very close by to each other, but they're two separate events. Same with the viral outbreak from in Raccoon City. Even then, that is a separate event from Resident Evil 1. They just happened to happen in succession. Boom, boom, boom. Well, I mean, I think there's a 3-month gap between Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 3, but still. Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2, but still. But yeah. I don't know if Leon or any of the original characters are going to be there. I know a lot of people are doing the leaks and stuff, or I should say the leaks. There's so many fake leaks out there. Oh, Leon's going to be the main guy. It's going to be on an island. It's going to be a village, and it's going to be a cult, and they're praying to the moon, and blah blah blah. So much fake crap. That's why I honestly didn't cover anything Resident Evil 9 related when the hype and the leaks were so high on YouTube and stuff. I didn't believe any of it, honestly, and it all sounded really dumb to me, if I'm being honest. I think maybe I made one video. I think. But you guys can correct me, I honestly don't remember. But that's why I didn't talk or touch very much, if at all, on Resident Evil 9, to be truthfully honest. There are so many videos out there talking about these leaks that sounded like bullshit to me. You know, and the same with, like, oh, Jill's in it too, and she's in an abandoned hospital, and there's a stalker enemy that's coming after her. You could tell whoever created those, had Resident Evil 4, whether it be the original or the remake, doesn't matter, as well as Resident Evil 3 on their brain. Because Resident Evil 4, what do you got? You got Leon. He goes to a village. There's a cult. They don't pray to the moon, but they have a cult, and you gotta fight them. And look at Resident Evil 3. You have Jill. She goes to, Carlos goes to the hospital in Resident Evil 3, but whatever. You have that, and the stalker enemy, you got Nemesis. Actually, in the remake, Jill goes to the hospital in the remake. But still. Just a bunch of crap. That's honestly why I didn't touch on it. And I think it's also funny that as soon as, because the creator guy, who is making 9, he came out and he said, we were planning on having Leon as the main character, but Leon, it's hard to make a horror game based around these characters who've been around for so long and fighting these monsters and fighting these corporations for almost 40 years now, a long time. That's not to say they don't get scared, but they don't get scared at very simple things, right? So they said we were going to, but ultimately we decided not to because we couldn't get the atmosphere that we wanted, that we were aiming for with them. And Reddit took that and they ran with it. Oh, the director is lying. He's lying. The fact that he even brought it up means that Leon is the main character. And that, Grace is just going to be like Ashley from Resident Evil 4. He has to go protect her. And she's going to be the side character. And blah, 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 blah. A bunch of crap, right? I mean, if that turns out to be the case, it's going to be a little disappointing, personally. Because I really like to play as Grace, as the main character, I think. But, I mean, it is what it is, if that's what it is. I highly, highly doubt it, But yeah, Redditors, they grabbed that and they ran with it. Oh, he's lying, blah, blah, blah. All that stupid crap, right? I think if he's in it, he may show up either halfway through or near the end, kind of like what Chris did in Resident Evil 8. So he doesn't steal the spotlight from Grace, which would be their best bet to do so. I've seen a lot of people talk about the man in the chair with the hood. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's Wesker. It's Wesker. Wesker's back." It's not Wesker. Wesker's not coming back. And if I was actually thinking about this for a while, I was talking to a couple of friends of mine about this. If Wesker were to return in Resident Evil 9, with all the shit that all the characters have done to him over the years, over the past 20, 30 years, like you gotta think, like in Resident Evil 1, he gets stabbed by the Tyrant, right? He gets killed. Yes, the virus reactivate him, he's back alive. In Code Veronica, they're fighting and stuff, he gets put on fire, and then the what do you call it? I can't even think what they're called. Metal tubing and stuff falls down and smashes him, right? And he gets back up. And just before the events of Resident Evil 5. He gets speared out the window by Jill, and he survives that. Okay. And then at the end of Resident Evil 5, spoiler, if you guys haven't played Resident Evil 5, it has been like, what, 10 years or something crazy, so... You know, he gets 2 rockets that literally go through his head and he dies. He's not coming back. So anyway, if he were to come back, there would be no point in the heroes trying to even fight him. They might as well just give up at that point. Let him kill the world. You know, it'd be literally no point in them even trying to save anybody, literally. So I highly doubt Wesker's coming back. Highly doubt that. As much as I like Wesker, Wesker's one of my favorite characters. But if they were bringing him back, it'd be like, oh cool, he's back, but it's kind of stupid at the same time. I've also seen, oh, it's Spencer. Spencer's back. No, it's not Spencer. Come on. Spencer literally pretty much had his heart literally impaled. He's not coming back. What's another weird one that I seen? Marcus. That was the one I actually had to laugh a lot about with Marcus. You know, he came back before the events of Zero. He was basically revived through leeches. You know, leeches went into his body and literally, you know, his whole body was just leeches. And as you know, at the end of Zero, he becomes this giant leech monster, and you know, Rebecca opens up the roof, and literally he becomes so frail that one magnum shot literally, quite literally, tears him to pieces. He's falling down. He's literally falling into chunks and pieces. And then on top of that, you know, the whole training facility and the water treatment plant all explode, and there's nothing left. So he's never come back either. I think this guy, the brand new guy, he's going to be connected to Umbrella somehow, or know somebody who is connected to Umbrella. I think we have an interesting story coming our way, and I'm not going to make any super guesses of what's going to happen, because I don't know. I've also seen some people say, oh, the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2 and Birkin and Nemesis, they can all still be alive, running around the ruins of Raccoon City 30 years, or yeah, like 30 years later. No, that honestly, that would turn me off so bad. Like, just no, please. If Capcom watches this video, and if it's not too late, don't do that. We might see zombies, because obviously the T-virus, you know, was in those labs, and the explosion could obviously destroy the equipment housing these viruses and stuff. So maybe we could have that. Maybe the guy in the hood has access to the T-virus or whatever. I don't know, but we'll see. This is getting a little bit long, but yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, my thoughts on Resident Evil 9 and all that. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun kind of stuff. If you have your own thoughts and opinions on Resident Evil 9, let me know. And hopefully you guys are enjoying Days Gone. I really, really love that game. It's one of my favorite games. I can see that I'm getting views on them, so I know there's people watching them. I'm glad to see that. And I've seen a few people, new subscribers, you know, so thanks for subscribing to the channel, and I'm glad to see that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my videos. But yeah, that being said, you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun kind of stuff. And I'll see you guys in my next video.